everybody, welcome back to another horror movie review here on the Maine Morgue. Last week I did Rob Zombie's Halloween, so this week I thought I would do Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. Now, for the purposes of this review, I will be talking about the unrated director's cut of the film. Right off the bat, that I want to admit that I want to admit this movie is even out there for Rob Zombie. But I will explain that this movie to you in great detail, and hopefully you can see it in a different way than before you saw this video. All right, so here we go. Released in 2009, written and directed by Rob Zombie, starring Scout Compton, Malcolm McDowell, Brad Dourif, Danielle Harris, Taylor Maine, Angela Trimbore, and Bree Grant. Right off the bat, I'm going to address the white horse in the room, because this is one of the biggest bitching points of fans out there in terms of Rob Zombie's H2. People have said millions of times, I'm sure, I don't get the white horse. Can somebody explain the white horse to me? And my favorite being, the white horse is dumb, and it should have been explained in the movie. And I'm like, really, motherfuckers? Are you blind or stupid? The reason I ask this question is because you're either blind or stupid, or you missed the beginning of the goddamn movie. Because the white horse is explained from the word go with a title card. Much like the now famous title card that started Rob Zombie's Halloween. White horse, linked to instinct, purity, and the drive of the physical body to release powerful and emotional forces, like rage, with ensuing chaos and destruction. Excerpt from the subconscious psychosis of dreams. It's right there in black and white, people. The white horse is fucking explained. And the white horse is again addressed twice more during the course of the movie. Maybe pay attention to details before you start getting on your keyboard and becoming a keyboard warrior and bitching like a crybaby. Most of you have an issue with Rob Zombie and therefore trash anything he does. Which is fine. It's your opinion. You're entitled to yours, just like I'm entitled to mine. And, you know, I don't really care about your opinion as it relates to my enjoyment of this movie. And you don't have to care about my enjoyment of this movie. That's completely fine. But here we go. All right. One of the absolute best things about this movie that people seem to skip over because they can't get over the white horse and all the changes that were made and all the other hoopla is the character development in this movie, which was friggin' amazing as it relates to Laurie, Dr. Loomis, Annie, and Sheriff Brackett. We get to see how these characters have changed since the events of the first movie, which is something they really didn't show in the original Halloween 2 because it takes place the same night. So you don't get to see the aftermath because, of course, Laurie isn't even in Part 3, Part 4, Part 5, or Part 6 of the original series. So you don't get to see what happened to her after the events of Halloween 1 and 2. You know, some of you folks out there dislike Rob Zombie's vision of Halloween in H2 because they weren't your typical Halloween movies. The ones we all grew up watching. And you're right. Rob Zombie's films are not typical Halloween movies. I agree with you 100%. They weren't your typical Halloween movies because there was more to the story than Michael just running around killing people. There is so much more at work than that And this is something that a lot of fans could not wrap their heads around. This movie makes you sit and watch this movie scene for scene, frame by frame. And you have to think about what you're watching. And the majority of fans don't want that type of movie. They want to sit in a theater or at home and be able to zone out and just watch a 95-minute Halloween movie, or however long the movie is, and that hits all the notes and you're happy at the end. It's been that way since the 80s, folks. And we've all become comfortable with what the slasher movie was, and a lot of you feel should always be. And, you know, we don't stop to think about what could be changed in the slasher genre. We just want the good old cookie-cutter horror movies. We all bitch and complain that there's nothing new or fresh in Hollywood, and that's true. They're only making remakes and sequels, and I get that. But what did you do when Halloween and H2 came out? What did you do? You bitched and complained. Because Rob Zombie changed Halloween. He changed Halloween history forever. And again, I'm going to say it again. I said it during my Rob Zombie Halloween review. John Carpenter's Halloween is my absolute favorite movie of all time in any genre. And I consider Halloween to be the greatest movie ever made. Some may disagree, some may agree. And I don't care about your opinion as it relates to how much I enjoy the original Halloween movie. And you know, folks, here we are 7 minutes in. I just want to say I'm keeping it real with y'all, okay? Because I love horror movies. I love Halloween. I love Rob Zombie's version of Halloween. I'm just trying to keep it real with y'all. I don't sugarcoat things. I don't candy coat things. I tell you how I feel, and that's just the way it is. Rob Zombie changed the way slashers should be made, damn it. And that's the truth. He changed the story, yes. But he came right out and said that Halloween was not going to be a remake. It was going to be a reimagining. So he changed things. He reimagined things. People have a hard time with that word. Mainly because I think Rob Zombie invented it. Anyways, getting back to the review. I want to address the violence in these two movies and how you all jump on Rob Zombie for killing the Halloween slow burn formula. Times change, folks. It's not 1978 anymore. In fact, it is February of 2017 when I'm making this video. And the slow burn doesn't work in today's society, and I'll tell you why. Because we live in such an instant gratification society now that we want it like that. We don't want to have to wait. We don't want to have to wait 30 minutes into the movie before we see the killer. We don't want to have to wait 60 minutes into the movie before it's down to the last three people and the killer. We want it boom, 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 and that's just the way it is. You can argue with that all you want, but that, my friends, is a fact. It's a fact of life. In the year 2017, we don't want to wait for anything. Come on, you can get on your damn cell phone now and order a coffee by going like this, walk in the store and pick it up. You can go to a friggin' football game and go, just bought a jersey. People don't want to wait for anything. And that's just the truth. I'm not picking on anybody that uses that technology. Fuck, my wife has an app so she can buy a Dunkin' Donuts coffee if she wants to. On her way to the store. Excuse me. And like I said, okay, society has a short attention span. We're all on our phones, on TV all the time, on DVDs and movies all the time. And that's a simple fact, folks. You cannot argue with that. And there are some of the radicals that don't have cell phones, limit their TV use, limit their internet use. That's fine for you people, but I'm talking about the majority of people don't want to sit around and wait. And again, bottom line, that's just the truth. Hang up my cell phone here. Just hang it up. It's a cell phone. How do you fucking hang up a cell phone? Dummy. Rob Zombie tried to give us a different type of movie. And what did fans do? By and large, they shit all over it. Because it was too far out there. What did I say at the beginning of this? This movie was out there even for Rob Zombie, and I admit that. I no, I'm not disturbing that fact. I'm not trying to skew it in any way. This movie was fucking out there, but in a good way. And I'm gonna give you guys a little top 5 here of things I hear people bitch about when I defend this movie. The White Horse didn't make sense. Well, I already fucking explained that. They changed Dr. Loomis too much. The story changed too much. They changed Dr. Loomis, changing with the times. Nowadays, if a fucking psychiatrist or a psychologist deals with a serial killer or something like that, you goddamn bet they're going to write a fucking book about it and make some goddamn money. That's just the way it is in today's day and age. The story changing too much. I don't... No. You have to change the story, because the shit that worked in 1981 doesn't work in 2009. It's just the way it is. Technology has changed. The way the world works changed. You can't remake Halloween 2 in 2009 and use the same things that you did in 1981. It just doesn't work that way. Michael's backstory was too much. Why does he have to be white trash? I don't know. And I'm not saying that's a good thing or a bad thing, but Michael's backstory was something I was very interested to watch, and that's one of the best things about Rob Zombie's Halloween, and I believe I said it in the first review. If not, I just said it now. I think it gives Michael a reason and a purpose. I mean, if you watch any of these shows, like that My 600 Pound Life show, every goddamn story on there is because they were abused, sexually assaulted, raped, their parents didn't love them, their parents split up. People who come from troubled youth do bad things, is the moral that they're trying to tell you. If you look at serial killers, and I did extensive research on serial killers before I started writing horror screenplays, they all were bedwetters. They all killed small animals. They were all abused, or any combination of these things that I talked about. And that's just, again, that's a fact. You cannot argue with that. So I think Rob Zombie giving Michael a backstory where he was white trash and came from a broken home, I think that was him giving Michael a reason, or an excuse, maybe. Number 4, Scout Compton wasn't good as Laurie Strode. She wasn't believable. To people that say that and argue with me on message boards and on Facebook horror groups, I will tell you guys the same thing. And again, this is Jamie Sanwar, just keeping it fucking real. Fuck you. Scout Compton, especially at H2, was fucking amazing in terms of the character development and the way she played the role. Here she is, a young girl who just survived a vicious attack from her, who she comes to find out is her brother. In the course of H2, she finds out Michael's her brother because of Dr. Loomis's book. So now she doesn't know who she is. Am I Laurie Strode? Am I Angel Myers? She becomes broken, even more so when she realizes who she truly is. And that is something that fans just can't grab. They can't understand it because it deals with psychological issues. And it's not just about Michael stabbing people. I said that a few minutes ago. And it's the truth. Now you think about that for a second. You don't know you're Angel Myers because you came to live with the Strode family when you were just a small baby. The Strode family are the only family you've ever known. And then one day, some guy tries to kill you and kills your friends and kills your parents. And come to find out 2 years later, you find out that he's your brother and you were born Angel Myers. That fucks your head up. And Rob Zombie gave us that story in H2, which is fucking phenomenal. I'm actually in the credits going to give them a special shout out about that. Anyways, last up. Too much violence, blood, and gore for a Halloween movie. The formula changed. I spoke about this a few minutes earlier. Times change. The world is a much more violent, dangerous, deadly fucking place in the year 2017. And again, that's just the truth. Too much blood, gore, and violence for a Halloween movie? It's 2017. If we had a slow burn, this movie wouldn't have done as well as it did. Period. And it just doesn't work. The slow burn does not work in 2017. Not for a movie like this. And if it does, I've never seen a movie like that. I think the way Dr. Loomis was changed from the event, he changed from the events of Halloween to H2. It was incredible. It was very well written, very well done by Malcolm McDowell. Excuse me. Like I said, Dr. Loomis, any doctor in today's day and age, if they dealt with a serial killer, they would write a book or sell the movie rights or something to become rich and famous. And this movie is more than just Michael killing people. It's about the relationship between Michael and Laurie. And the changes that the characters have gone through since the events of the first movie. Is it really that hard to see? Am I the only one that saw that? I mean, seriously? Maybe it's because I have a different eye because I make movies, but I don't know. Rob Zombie really focused on the events that Laurie, the issues rather, that Laurie developed after the events of Halloween. And now she just might be as crazy as her older brother. And I thought that was something that was really well done and really well thought out. The movie shows how Annie and Laurie's relationship changed from the events of Halloween to current times. And I mean, they've changed so much that they see therapists, which is, she's seeing this therapist to deal with her growing issues. She's slowly losing her mind. She's slowly becoming like her brother. The scene with Laurie in the therapist's office, speaking of therapy, was just so emotionally powerful and lends itself to the emotional state of Laurie dealing with everything she's had to deal with. She says, I can't deal with this anymore. I'm not strong enough. And I think she's being 100% honest. She doesn't know how to deal with this. And I mean, who the fuck would? I mean, really. I mean, I'm a strong person. And for example, when my brother died in April of last year, I was the strong one for everybody. Did I cry? Yes. But at the funeral, I held it together as much as I could for my mother. And I cried after the fact. So I understand having to deal with a traumatic event and be strong at the same time. But then she realizes that she's not strong enough. She doesn't know how to deal with this. And she's not sure that the therapy is actually helping her get better. Scout Compton was absolutely fucking amazing in this movie. People will say she didn't do Laurie Strode justice, That's fine, that's your opinion. I don't care if you dislike my opinion or not. It's my opinion and I'm happy with it, so hey, works for me. She shows the damage done to Laurie from the events of Halloween all the way through this film in a way that I don't think a lot of actresses could do that. The arguments between Laurie and Annie are a great representation of their now strained relationship. And the pain you see displayed when Annie is dying in Laurie's arms. If you don't feel something watching that part of the movie, there is something fucking wrong with you. Okay, that again is so powerful and so emotional. In her last moments, Annie is laying on the bathroom floor, naked, covered in blood, dying. And she's telling Laurie Go. It's him. Go. He's in the house. Go. And Laurie says to her, don't leave me, baby. I need you, baby. Don't leave me. Showing deep down, even though they have issues, they still care for each other. I think that's so just emotionally raw. And, it's not until Annie dies in her arms and Michael starts smashing through the door that Laurie leaves. She wanted to try to save her. And again, that's emotionally raw and powerful. And people just shit all over it. And I don't understand why. Oh, pages are stuck together. I just hate it when that happens. Okay, shortly thereafter, after Annie has died and Laurie has run out of the house, Sheriff Brackett arrives at his home to discover his daughter's dead body on the bathroom floor. She's covered in blood, and this is just another powerful, just raw, emotional moment. He collapses onto the floor, screaming his daughter's name. And again, if that doesn't make you feel something as a fucking human being, I don't know what to tell you. They track Michael to the shack where he has Laurie, and Dr. Loomis arrives after seeing it on the news, which I thought was, it was really funny. He's in this posh hotel room, and he's having a drink, and he hears the report on TV. And I just thought that was a really good scene to get him back into the story. Once he arrives at the scene of the shack, Sheriff Brackett confronts him and just wants to shoot him because of him, he lost his daughter. So I get that. Again, raw emotion was present, and you feel for Sheriff Brackett, because if it wasn't for Dr. Loomis, Annie would still be here, presumably. The end of the movie is something that most fans didn't like at all. I agree and disagree at the same time. The director's cut ends with Michael and Dr. Loomis crashing through the wall of the shack. Michael pulls off his mask and yells "die" as he stabs Dr. Loomis in the gut. Him speaking in this movie did not bother me at all. And it bothers everybody else, like, to no end. It annoys you guys, and I can't figure out why. It's raw emotion. He wants Dr. Loomis to fucking die. As Loomis hits the ground, police open fire and shoot Michael like 500 times. And he falls to the ground. I know they probably didn't shoot him 500 times, because 500 squibs would be really fucking expensive. Laurie comes out of the shack and walks over to the body, picking up the knife. And she stands there for a moment, and it appears that she's going to use the knife. I don't know if she was going to use it on Dr. Loomis or if she was going to use it on Michael. But before she could do anything, she's shot 3 times and falls to the ground, dead. Presumably dead. She's then shown sitting on a bed in a long white hallway with her mother and the white horse walking towards her. The sick smile that develops on Laurie's face is chilling, to say the least. The song "Love Hurts" by Nan Vernon was chilling and creepy at the end of the movie. I actually have it on my Spotify playlist. I actually have both soundtracks that I just downloaded because they're just amazingly done pieces of music. And that ending with her on the bed giving that smile would have been a perfect jumping off point for a part 3. But I believe that, here's another thing I'm going to say that's probably going to piss off a lot of people, and that's okay. I think it pisses you guys off that Rob Zombie did something with 2 movies in 2 years' time that it took the original series 4 movies and 24 years to do. He ended the franchise in 2 films in a span of 2 years. And this is another thing I have no problem with. And here's why. when you start getting into parts 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, whatever, in all honesty, that's when you start getting into trouble with the same old stuff. It happens in all franchises. I mean, Friday the 13th, and Nightmare on Elm Street, and Halloween. And I think that that's something that really needs to end, which is why when I wrote Sins of Man, and I got the idea for part 2, I said, okay, I'll write part 2. And this was before Sins of Man even went into production. It was during the pre-production, during the writing process. And then I started writing notes for part 2 before I even had part 1 finished. Finished part 1, started writing part 2, and then I said, I could end this in a trilogy if I do A, B, and C. So I started making notes for part 3, and I finished part 2 and then wrote part 3 and said, okay, that's it. I will not make a Sins of Man 4 unless it's a hit and fans want to see another trilogy. Okay, that being said, in closing, Rob Zombie may not have delivered a typical Halloween film to us, but what he did deliver was incredible. A little 2-film story that told the entire Laurie Michael saga in 2 films. Again, it showed the entire arc of the Laurie Michael storyline. Was some of the stuff in this movie, or these movies, out there? Fuck yeah, I admitted that at the beginning. And a lot of you are going to bury Rob Zombie for having a different vision of Halloween, because he did, and that's fine. But he did an incredible job, and I, for one, love these films. I want to say that Rob Zombie's 2 Halloween films are incredible pieces of work. Fans that don't like them, I feel, simply don't understand them. And that's fine. I'm not saying you have to like these movies, but do you have to be so hard on them? It's just a question. Why don't you go back and rewatch them and see if you can't see the beautiful genius that is Rob Zombie's Halloween tale. Halloween and Halloween 2. Again, the perfect story arc. As for a rating, I gave this movie a 4 3/4 out of 5. Some will say that's high, but I don't really care if you dislike my opinion. That's why I have my opinion and you have yours. Mine's not right. Yours isn't right. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. That's all I got. Here we are, 28 minutes into it. God, that was long-winded. I hope you enjoyed this review of Rob Zombie's H2. To those of you who watched the whole video, thank you very much. If you enjoyed the content, as always, hit the like button and hit that little subscribe button. Click that little bell, and we will be doing more of these videos every other week. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Take care, everybody, and I will be back shortly with another video. And, of course, may the Force be with you.